Meditation kills boredom and stress. The two reasons why any individual will gravitate towards sensual gratification, which can come in terms of enjoyments or leading to obsessions, compulsions, addictions, comes through excess indulgence into vishayas or sense objects in the form of food, music, sex, any of the addiction tendencies of smoking, gambling, drinking. The reasons why an individual will seek sense objects is either boredom or distress. So, if we can counteract boredom with a meaningful sense of purpose all the time, and if we can counteract distress by remaining happy all the time, then we will never seek external means of gratification, which is sought because it brings happiness quickly, although very short lived, it brings it quickly. And then it hardwires our mind to go seek it again and again because that's the only way of finding happiness that we know of. That's why you will see that the high state that one gets when they are using drugs or alcohol does create the high, but then creates the hangover or the withdrawal phase, which is terribly devastating to the individual and their families. So, the ways to counteract this urge for sensual gratification, which happens from abhyasa or wrongful repetition and usage of the vishayas all the time, is to remain purposeful and remain happy. So, as you see, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yajna dan tapo karm natyajam iti chapare. No matter you leave everything, sakam karm, you should not leave nishkam karm. And the nishkam karm or activity without seeking fruits should be in the realms of yajna, dan and tap. You can understand tap is tapas, is basically austerities. And austerities merely represents a dissociation from the constant repetitious tendency of enjoying the objects of sensual gratification or bhogas. So when you destroy the bhog using yog, you are using tapas. Tapas can be intermittent fasting when you're not using too much the vishaya of the food. Tapas can be cold showers when we are not abusing the vishaya of touch sense. Anything where you are controlling the five senses of sensual gratification in the form of music, sights, touch, smell, and taste. That's the mode of tapas. Best two examples are intermittent fasting and cold showers. Then comes dan. Dan is philanthropy. Dan is giving what is more than what you need to the individuals around you. And dan is more done at the level of mind purification because mind is the source of desires, greed. So when you give away what you have accumulated through philanthropy, you are counteracting the desires because the desire to accumulate is annihilated by the activity of distribution. So tapas purifies senses, dan purifies mind because it's the storehouse of desires. Senses is the storehouse of yearning. So you kill it with tapas or austerities. The third one is yajna. Yajna is sacrifice. Yajna purifies your intellect. Intellect is the highest order in the three senses, mind, and intellect. Indrani parane andre bhamana manasastu para buddhayo buddhe partastu sa. Above the buddhi or intellect is the soul. So the dhyana is what purifies in the mental realm the intellect, but on the action plane, Yagyadantam, it is Yagya, or giving away what is your to an individual who needs it more than you do. So see how the sense of purpose is uh, suddenly increased, heightened by this Yagya. So, my friends, those are the three modalities: tap, dan, and yagya, austerities, philanthropy, sacrifice, which are modes of nishkam karma, or karma in which you are not seeking fruitful gratification, fruits of your action, and those are helping to dissolve your past karmas, vikarm vinash, and they are helping to purify the three apparatus of senses, mind, and intellect, respectively. Because when our senses, mind, and intellect are purified, then they are working in sync and working towards evolution of the Atman, towards the Paramatman, and not falling it in the Maya, delusion, tamasic forces which are making us more and more attached to the Vishayas or objects of sensual gratification. From Purusha, we are becoming more and more Prakriti. Purusha is the knower of the field, and Prakriti is the field full of the gunas, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. So, if you don't want to get naturally gravitated towards senses, it's very important to remain happy all the time through Yagyadantam, and to remain purposeful all the time through Yagyadantam. If we can remain happy and purposeful, then we will not fall into the temptations of sensual gratification, obsessions, compulsions, addictions, the triad of tamasic trap that keeps us from getting liberation. So, having known that, it's important to start the day with dhyana, because dhyana is what will reinforce our tendencies to Yagyadantam. When you do dhyana in Brahma Muhurat, which is the around 60 to 80 minutes before sunrise, once you wake up, you have woken up from deep sleep, from the state of Turiya almost, where you were meeting the Brahman. In the Sukshma Sharir that was activated, you were contacting your Ishtadevs, your higher beings, your sources of desire. And since they were satiated, you were feeling more adequate and complete and happy. So the level of stress is the minimum when you wake up, because at that time you have forgotten the gross sharir, or the sthul sharir, and gone into the sukshma sharir, and sometimes into the karan sharir if you are devoid of any desires. So at that time in Brahma Muhurat, you have to practice dharana and dhyana. Dharana is the constant japa, or saying the name of your Ishtadev or any mantra that suits your personality. Or you do dhyana, which is silent contemplation. You can do it in the mode of visualizations, affirmations, belief visualization, which helps to strengthen your sankalp. Because remember, sankalp is what the intentions is what comes from the soul. The desires comes from the mind. So that's a huge difference. When you are doing dhyana, you are trying to annihilate the desires, because contemplation liquidates vasanas, as Swami Chinmayananda says. But dhyana is what reinforces your intentions or sankalp. So you have to not only do vairagya, which is detachment, because you're constantly castigating the desires that are arising in the mind and how they are getting you into the trap, slavery of serving the senses. But when you are doing the dharana, that also helps, because sometimes people whose minds are chanchalam hi mana krishpamati baladidham tanyaham nigre mane varisudushkaram, whose mind is so restless that it's so hard to concentrate on a single activity or dhyana, or personification of God image in the mind. So for those individuals, I recommend starting with dharana, which is Ram 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 Ram. You can say this, or you can say Om. What happens when you do this is that you're recruiting the thought, speech, and action realm of speech. So the distraction, mind cannot distract you when you are trying to give it a job. So you are giving it a purpose. So when it has a purpose, it doesn't have the luxury of getting distracted or tempted into thousand things that are totally irrelevant to the growth of the soul when you are trying to practice meditation in Brahma Muhurat. So my friends, in short, the two reasons why we look for external sources of happiness, Bahya Sparsha Shaktatma, is boredom and lack of happiness or presence of distress. When we have boredom and distress, we will naturally gravitate to the lowest expression of Purusha, which is sensual gratification. When we put the senses into austerity, which is whenever we feel distressed or bored, we go for intermittent fasting or cold showers, then we have destroyed the sensual impurities by enrolling in tapas or austerities. Similarly, when the mind is too restless, agitated, panicky, at those periods, if we are doing dan, or around the day, if we are doing dan, which is philanthropy or giving away something that is yours, but you have too much of it, too much of food, too much of money, too much of clothes, giving it to other people who might need it, then you are doing dan, and that way you are annihilating the desires. So dan or philanthropy annihilates the impurities of the mind reflected as desires. Thirdly, when we do yagya, which is giving away what was basic, essential to us, but still to someone who needs it more, then we are reinforcing the dharma or reinforcing the intellectual abilities of distinguishing right versus wrong, and therefore we are reinforcing we are purifying our intellect. The purification of senses, mind, and intellect is responsible for the growth of the soul. When all of them are purified and working in sync with each other through the powers of tapas for the senses, dan for the desires of the mind, and yagya for the dharma growth in the intellect, then we have achieved a sync in all these three forces, which will help us identify who we are, the sa or the soul, and go towards the Paramatma, which is our real abode. Dhyana itself during Brahma Muhurat will help us to reinforce through the Sankalp, because Sankalp is closest to the Atman. The Dhyana in the Brahma Muhurat through meditation will not only reduce the craving for external source gratification, which is hallmark of sensual pleasures, but will help you remain happy within yourself. Yehi sansparja bhoga dukhyone avte adi antvant konte na teshu ramte buddha. This contact of the senses with the sensual objects is the cause of all miseries. So who does not engage in them, that is the person who remains happy within himself. So in short, my friends, on the Nishkam Karma mode, please do activities of austerities, philanthropy, and sacrifice to purify our senses, mind, and intellect. And always do dhyana, because in dhyana, Brahma Muhurat, you are doing affirmation, belief, visualization, which will reinforcing your neuronal pathways to pursue activities of austerity, philanthropy, and sacrifice. Hope you like this audio. Thank you.